Good afternoon. We're at the CEM 2017 summit in Cape Town, live from Cape Town. With me this afternoon, just after lunch, I've got Chantel Botha from Brandlove. She's the CEO at Brandlove, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to the entire online audience.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having this interview with me. And we at Brandlove, we like to say we find the best and the worst in your brand and help you make it better. So we're very excited to be at the summit. Awesome, interesting people here. And I think our passion is really around developing CX professionals and spreading the knowledge. And obviously with a brand like Brandlove, we spread the love. We've got an awesome love lounge going around the corner. You're welcome to join us later on our couch. And yeah, awesome.
Sounds like quite an appropriate place to be right now, considering that it's literally right after lunch. We've got our desserts ready here. Cheers. And we're going to certainly join you at your Love Lounge, the brand Love Lounge. That's amazing. And that's what it's about, really. I mean, effectively, brands need to be loved. Brands need to be embraced. And how best to love a brand if you don't love the brand? So, I'd be really interested to gauge from you in terms of you're obviously one of the founding members or are the founding member of Brandlove. And we saw you yesterday at the CXA Awards. You've had your presentation this morning. Could you just give us an overview on your presentation this morning to the CEM attendees? Very, very brief in terms of the key highlights that stood out for you in terms of key moments.
So my presentation was about what technology is doing to human beings, and it's phenomenal to see the developments in technology, but there's some challenges that come with that. And I think the always on, being expected to deal with emails and WhatsApps 24 hours a day. I think there's some real challenges for people. And I think, many corporates, we see them still being very conservative around Facebook and social media, but their customers are on Facebook and social media. So finding that balance between giving people permission, opening up, and closing down and trying to take control, I think that remains a challenge. If we look at how much of the experience relies on people, and we look at the international statistics around how many employees are actively engaged at work, we're looking at 30%. That means 70% of people think their job sucks or they just don't care. And I think the thing for me is that if I ask you, let me ask you, what is great service about? How would you describe having a great experience?
And that's an extremely interesting question, because that's what it's really about. A great experience is me having the ability to reflect the same experience and carry it over as a story and tell someone else about that story. Live in the moment, being able to, without any hesitation, explain and describe in a story form what that experience actually was about. And not all experiences are great, but they still translate to a story. Not all experiences are bad. So there's a lot of gaps in between, our experiences. So being able to discuss and talk about experiences is extremely key to being able to actually build the ability to continuously interact with the brand. Hoping that answers your question. I'm going to pass it back to you.
Well, I think you doing what you're doing. You're a storyteller, and you're a person who kind of draws stories out of other people. And I think that if we can reframe people's jobs as not saying I work in a call center, I answer the phone, to I'm actually a storyteller, I'm a memory maker, then it gives people purpose, and it gives them a much better reason to actually get out of bed in the morning and do what they do. And I think that's key, that real-time design of experiences, because everybody can tell you what they want from an experience, but not everybody can tell you what they want to give as an experience. Everybody wants to feel great about themselves. And I think that's my mission. I want to teach people how to package that, how to package making people feel great about themselves.
Sounds like you're extremely passionate about what you do, especially the way you've just described that. Your passionate eyes are incredible in terms of the love that you have for what it is you do. Could you give us an example of one of the passionate moments that you've had with your Brandlove company?
I think we absolutely live for engaging with people. We've got a amazing program that we've developed over the last 2 years called the Brand Warrior Program. And the Brand Warrior Program, at the core of it, is being a brand warrior of your own brand. So if I look at my brand, Chantel, who is Chantel? What makes me happy? What ignites my spark? Brand Warrior really works around getting that connection with self, and then looking at, so what's my context in which I operate in, that connection with my team. So how do I interact with my team? And ultimately, how do I interact with my customer? So I think we've witnessed just amazing things in running this program with corporates, and seeing the magic of people discovering themselves and looking at their gifts, and sometimes looking at the sides of them that they might not be that proud of. And we do some crazy stuff. We do laughter yoga, and we play with Lego. And I think, letting people just be, and letting them just, in a safe space, discover who they are and where they want to go is magical to witness. I think every time I see, we had a guy in a workshop, and he built a model of himself, and he looked at this model and he says, I'm a bully, I'm a bully at work and I'm a bully at home, and I hated bullies when I was growing up. And you could see it's the first time that he discovered this. And he goes like, I don't want to be like that. I want to be kind, and I want to be caring, and I want to be compassionate. And you can see how you struck just a chord inside that person. And I go like, that's what I wake up for. That's why I get up in the morning. I hate getting up early, but that's why I get up. That's why I will get up at 4 o'clock every morning, if I can make a difference to people's lives.
Sounds like you are making a difference to people's lives already. You're here. You've got the most amazing smile of today. I think it's the most energetic smile we've seen at the CEM 2017 summit. Absolutely, and we'd like to reflect the same. And it's incredible that such energy and passion is coming through from yourself. And I can imagine that based on your Brand Warrior program, not only were you able to exercise the warrior program inside of your business, because that becomes critical, but then also being able to share that with your customer base. And I'm thinking you're sharing quite a lot of that right now, in terms of trying to engage with a wider audience, in terms of there is potentially a different way to approach social engagement, and it goes way beyond social engagement, because from a customer perspective, it's not we here to sell one thing and one thing only. It's a longevity thing in terms of being able to connect and constantly engage. In terms of, you mentioned technology earlier on. I'm not going to delve too deep into technology, but from an engagement perspective, your Brand Warrior program, would you say that you are looking to leverage more technology less technology, or is it equally balanced in terms of the offering that Brandlove has?
So in Brand Warrior, we've got a few modules that focus on living a more balanced life. And I think a lot of the engagement with face-to-face stuff is low technology, but there's definitely a place for teaching people much more skills around productivity. So what productivity apps can you use to make your life easier? How can you do things faster? How can you do things better by leveraging apps and technology, especially around learning? If we look at the online learning offerings, Coursera, Khan Academy, you can become a rock star at anything if you commit to online learning. I'm a big fan of Evernote, Asana, anything that can organize our lives, and that's awesome to teach people those productivity hacks and to actually teach them. I used to spend 2 hours a day in my car driving to the southern suburbs. Most of that was being grumpy, complaining about my life, complaining about the fact that I had to fight, swearing at other drivers, calling them things that my mother would not be proud of. And I think then I discovered audiobooks and my life changed.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, it was like 2 hours of listening to awesome stuff in my car. It became sacred. I would get to the office and go, okay, I'm going to finish listening to this. They must just wait. So I think there's such a place for technology enhancing our lives, making our lives easier, making our lives less noisy. If I think about mindfulness, there's some awesome apps to practice mindfulness. So no, absolutely. I think teaching people how to use technology to their advantage and not letting technology rule them. So I think that's
And that's key. So, being able to let go of that historical BlackBerry, we're probably going to start seeing people letting go more and more of their email and looking for more automated type ways of communicating, so that it does become more real time, so that we don't have to historically go back and look at things. I'm going to reflect on the audiobooks, because the audiobooks is also a key part of my life as well. And the one holiday we were travelling, and we started listening to The Hobbit on an audiobook. And the entire journey took us through from South Africa into Namibia and back. So a couple of 1,000 kilometers later, we had actually done the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was incredible. Yeah. And we took a detour all the way down to Hog's Back to actually go and see Middle Earth, which was great because we had to. It was part of the trip, and that's exactly it, like you rightly say, which is, we've got to leverage technology in such a way that it makes us more comfortable, easier to absorb, easier to live, and a lot of the time it's actually making it easier for us to actually consume the technology as well. Great. In terms of the customer experience, it's a 2017 event this year. What is your sort of perspective on the growth of the event, over the last couple of years, and what do you think the event will benefit from in terms of bringing additional value to CEM potentially for next year?
So I've been involved with the event for 6 years, and and I think I can't remember the number of people, but I think it must have just been like over 100 people who attended the first and the second event, and to see like 500 people, I think there's probably a little bit more than 500 people here, is just incredible. I think the commitment that it shows from companies that are sending their people here to spend 2 days at the summit to learn and to network is just awesome. I think the real it's a customer experience summit, but the real test is whether the customers will benefit from what we're learning here. And I think too much still, I think, in South Africa we put up with less than good service. I think we're very forgiving, we're very accepting, and I think it's time that people stand up, for good service. I love to tell the story about I've got a young daughter and she came home from school one day with a picture that they had to draw their mother. And I looked at this picture and, a little bit of an egotistical thing there. I wonder how she portrayed me. And she ran to me with this picture and she said, Mommy, look how beautiful you are. And I looked at the picture and I had like red lips, but I had teeth this long, dripping with spit and spines on my back. And I said, oh, honey, you're a great artist, but what inspired this picture? And she said, remember when we were in that store and you were shouting at that lady about the fact that they couldn't fix the vacuum cleaner and we weren't going to have a vacuum cleaner for 6 weeks. She said, you spit on me. You were so angry, you spit on me. And in that moment, I went sure. I actually have not been back to that store because I felt like an absolute bitch shouting at this poor woman because I thought they were not giving me great service. And I think experience is not about how we feel about the brand. It's how we feel about ourselves in that moment. And I think that's probably why a lot of people don't go there to complain, because you actually don't feel good about yourself when you complain. And I think getting over that and really demanding respectful service. I think it's about effort. Don't push the effort onto the customer, and pay them the respect. That's really how simple it is.
So that's very interesting in terms of that, because there's a lot of discussion going on around with the analytics around emotion has quite an introspection in terms of what the customer sentiment would be. And I'm going to use customer sentiment in terms of the legacy side of the discussion. Do you see, and I know it might be a tough question in terms of whether there is extreme merit in looking at the analytics of emotion when it comes to customer service?
I'm going to bat that back to you. Do you need analytics to tell me how I'm feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? If you read me, what do you think I'm feeling?
You're excited, you're smiling,
I'm happy.
ambitious, and you're happy.
I'm happy. So I think analytics has its place.
Sure.
I think data has its place. Yes. I think getting voice of the customer has its place. However, if you are in a relationship with someone, I don't think you need analytics. If you maintain that relationship, I don't think you need analytics to tell you whether the relationship is good or not. And I think also in the customer experience world, if we look at customer satisfaction scores, NPS, it can be like a little bit of a cocaine fix of customer experience. You get addicted to the numbers and you just will do anything to make the numbers move. And I think rather than be fixated on the numbers, be fixated on your customers. So that's my probably I would piss off every analytics company here at the conference, but they have their place. Just don't get addicted to the numbers.
And that's the emotional decision, really. Is we are people after all, and being able to communicate like we are here right now, going through this interview face to face. Thank you so much. I am gonna ask you maybe one or two more questions. In terms of the event itself, are you seeing quite a lot of traction at your stand at Brandlove? Because I understand that you have quite an amazing feature there that I really need to go and take a look at. And you have balloons as well. That would be breathe in the good shit, breathe out the bullshit. That is Brandlove. quite an amazing slogan for a very, very exciting brand. I'm going to hand over to you in terms of, where did the reality and I think the sincerity behind that actually come from, really?
We're a very truthful brand. We sometimes say to our customers, you know what, we care more about your customers than what we care about your brand. There's no ego in that. We care deeply that your customers are delighted by you, and we care deeply that there's a value exchange in that. And just getting back to our little love lounge corner there, it's been insane. And I think I don't need a degree in psychology to tell you why. But I think people can just be themselves and they can just have fun and they can blow up balloons and they can sit on the couch and we make them look pretty on the couch and take photos of them and we make them feel good about themselves. And that's essentially what it's about. And I think, I have, my team is just awesome and I have just one rule, and that is, do what you love doing. And sometimes we have to do things that are maybe administrative in nature and that doesn't really rev our engine. But every day you have to do one thing that you love doing. And I think that shines through. If you do what you love, it doesn't feel like work. And then sometimes when you have to put up with shitty stuff, it just makes it better.
I'm looking forward to come and meeting you at your stand. We thank you for coming to visit our stand here. But I will definitely be there this afternoon, and I'm really looking forward to that. How did you say it? Awesome experience. Yeah, I'm really can't wait for that this afternoon.
Will not fail your expectations there.
I have none at the moment, so I'm going there with a clear, open mind in terms of what it is I'm looking forward to enjoy. Chantel, thank you so much. Chantel, CEO of Brandlove. I'm going to hand it over to you in terms of the last say. If you want to say something right at the end.
Awesome. I just want to say to everybody that's here, thank you for your passion and your commitment to customer experience. Go out there, keep going, keep delighting your customers. You're making a difference. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll be back with another interview this afternoon. Key is at 3 o'clock. There is further keynotes from the main hall at the CEM Africa Summit in Cape Town, live throughout Africa. Thank you.